In this video, I'm going to give you the difference between Alibaba and AliExpress. What's the difference? What are they for? How to use them? Which one is better for wholesale? Which one is better for dropshipping? Can you use Alibaba for dropshipping? All of that kind of stuff I'm going to share in this video. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I think there are so many misconceptions about people talking about that have no idea what they're talking about. So I've been living in China now for the last 7 years, and I speak Chinese, and I have a sourcing company in China where we actually have employees that we pay salaries and social insurances and all that kind of stuff, like a actual real business and not just some freelancers working somewhere. So what I want to talk to you about is exactly that: AliExpress versus Alibaba. What is it? What does it mean? What do you do with it? And give you my take on that based on all the sourcing experience that we have here on the ground in China. So very briefly, Alibaba is a wholesale company. So how Alibaba started is basically how Alibaba was one of the biggest changes that happened in China when China had the big increase in business. Because if you think back, China was the country that was really cheap to produce things, but it wasn't always the country of production. Before, things were made locally in your local domestic countries, but then China raised up to it and started to produce things really affordably, and that attracted a lot of business from everywhere around the world, and everyone wanted to buy in China. Everyone started buying in China. But the difference is, or the difficulty back then was trust. How do you trust someone who is in China, who you have never seen, who you've never spoken to, you've never visited? How do you trust that person to, receive your money and actually deliver the product that you want to in the quality that you want to? And based on that, that was the whole premise how Alibaba started. And Alibaba is founded by a guy called Jack Ma, or Chinese Ma Yun, and he's founded the company. And he wanted to put the trust in it. He wanted to have a platform that acts like a broker to be in between the companies that order in China and the companies that produce in China. And that kind of companies dropshipping wasn't even a thing. It didn't exist back then. So Alibaba was first. And it was just where companies abroad bought big bulk orders of stuff in China. So the wholesalers and everyone bought these things in China. And that is why Alibaba traditionally is a wholesale platform, where people that sell on Amazon, where people that buy in bulk, where wholesalers, sellers, distributors, brands buy products in bulk in China, container loads or smaller shipments to big container loads of things that they buy in China. That is what Alibaba was originally made for. And then people started and came up with a kind of an idea and say, well, if people buy big quantities in China, maybe people want to buy small quantities, like one by one units in China. And that is where AliExpress came in. So Jack Ma thought, well, why don't we do like the Amazon from China? And that is where AliExpress came in. So if you're buying things on AliExpress, the idea was, look, we have local Chinese sellers that are usually not manufacturers, that are brands in China, that are sellers in China, trading companies or brands in China, people that have little local stores, like people in our countries have eBay stores, right? That is basically the eBay stores in China, but not to the Chinese people, but to the foreigners. Because the Chinese have another platform that's called Taobao. That's the biggest Chinese Amazon, Chinese eBay, however you want to call that. And that is where the difference is, where they say, okay, let's find a platform where Chinese cannot buy, but where Chinese can sell to end consumers. And that is where AliExpress came in. So on AliExpress, if you buy a product, you can buy 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, very small units from a company in China that is a trading company that already bought big quantities from Chinese manufacturers, and they then ship it out to you. And that is where dropshipping came in, where people say, well, look, if I can send one individual product to me, then I can send one individual product to one individual buyer. So people started to put up Shopify stores and say, okay, now that my store is up, if people buy, I'm going to take that money from the customer that paid me, and I'm going to put part of it and give it to an AliExpress supplier, and then have them ship out the product directly. Now, when we speak about Alibaba and AliExpress, nowadays a lot of people try to use Alibaba for dropshipping because they look at AliExpress, and the AliExpress sellers, they already know they put the prices as high up as they can, because they kind of know what are people willing to pay for it, because it's still cheaper to buy it on those prices than if you would buy it locally in your country. So, but this is where people started to get smart and say, look, if I'm paying this much on AliExpress. Maybe I can get a better price on Alibaba. So now people start reaching out to suppliers on Alibaba, and it's horribly difficult to find a supplier on Alibaba who can dropship your products, because usually the people that have an account on the Alibaba platform, they are there to sell big quantities. Initially on those platforms it was all manufacturers. Now it has shifted, and mostly the companies that you see on Alibaba are also trading companies. So the same trading companies that you have selling on AliExpress sell on Alibaba. They sell bigger quantities on Alibaba, but they drop ship from AliExpress. So now, if you look on Alibaba and you find people that you want to drop ship your product on that platform, some of the sellers do that because they also offer the same service on AliExpress, but they are also on Alibaba, so they do that from there too. So you can find better prices sometimes, but it's usually not really worth the dig, because if you get the price initially from the Alibaba supplier for dropshipping, you could get the same price from that same supplier on AliExpress with just a little bit of negotiations. Sometimes it can be worse to do it. However, most of the time suppliers are not interested in doing dropshipping because that's what they are. It's not the right platform for it, it's a different platform. So if you want to do things simple, if you just want to start out, if you want to go straight away, find a way that quickly gets you a supplier, you go to AliExpress and you have a dropshipping supplier. If you want to buy products in bulk, you go to Alibaba. If you want to have an even better solution, you hire a company like mine, where we help you source your product and do the whole thing for you. Because sometimes I'll tell you a story, right? My girlfriend's Chinese. If I go with her to the fish market just down the street, and we buy some veggies, fish, shrimps, whatever it is. If I'm with her, the prices that she gets are 20-30% higher right off the bat. If she goes without me, the prices drop 20 to 30%. And that is because she's Chinese, because the Chinese seller knows he cannot sell that high because she will not buy it. Now, if I'm with her, she's like, oh, the foreigner is there, he must be rich, so I can charge more. That's kind of the mentality. Because they know they can charge more. And the same thing happens to you on Alibaba, the same thing happens to you on AliExpress. If you message a supplier, your price will always be higher than the Chinese price. Now, as a Chinese company, we can get your price down, we can do all the workload for you, and usually the fee that you pay us, the savings are greater than the fee that you pay us. So usually it's a no-brainer to just go with us. And if you want to do that, there's a link below here in the description where you can just schedule a call with me, with my team. We speak about your product, see if your project is something that we can actually help you with. And if so, we'll make you a proposal that you cannot refuse. If you have more questions about Alibaba, AliExpress, what ways to use, make sure to check out this channel and subscribe, because we're going to do an in-depth comparison video of the pros and cons of Alibaba and AliExpress for either dropshipping or bulk orders. And we're going to do some more videos on where do you go after you started the dropshipping, after you made some sales. How do you transition from AliExpress, where you do one by one, to bulk orders to increase your profit margins by a lot? We're going to do all of those videos, so make sure that you subscribe. And like I said, if you want to learn how to sell products, there's a web class below in the description that teaches you how to profitably sell your products and replace your income. If you want help to source your products, there's another link. Just schedule a call with us. We're very friendly, we don't bite. And then we just jump on a call and see if we could work with you. So all that said, probably hear you soon on the phone, so catch you then. Cheers.